Yo, what it do, what it do. It's your boy Yellow the Poet, and today I am here with Miss Theresa Rose. Miss Theresa Rose is going to show us things about crystallizing your business. So definitely, we are looking forward to this opportunity, and I cannot wait to get into this because Miss Theresa got something going. We gonna have to get ourselves ready. So tie up your boots and make sure your shoestrings laced up real nice. Because I don't want you to trip and fall and miss anything. So, Miss Theresa Rose, we greatly appreciate you joining YTP Entertainment. Please, by all means, enlighten us on some of the things that you got going on.
Well, thank you, Yellow, for having me on your show. I appreciate it. There's so many things going on in my world. The thing that I'm most excited about right now is I just did a TEDx talk a couple of months ago, my second TEDx talk, and it's called Doodle Your Dreams, How a Cocktail Napkin Will Save the World. And it was the best thing that I've ever done on stage. And I'm just thrilled with what happened. It took me 3 months to craft it and practice it and polish it to perfection and deliver it. And now it's out in the world and I'm sharing it with people far and wide. So if anybody who's a listener of your podcast loves TEDx talks, please check out mine. I'm so very proud of it. It's really, it shows the essence of what I talk about when it comes to crystallization and cocktail napkin clarity.
That is so awesome. I love that. I love that. So please give us some insight as to what crystallization with cocktail napkins actually mean. Because I'm pretty
Yeah.
audience and everybody is real curious. What does this mean? I'm pretty sure it's not the same as looking at a cocktail napkin on a table. So
Well, actually, empires have been built off cocktail napkins. They're very powerful technologies because they are scrunchable and they're mobile and they are found everywhere.
yes,
And they force us to really think through our big ideas and bring them down to its essence. So the reason why I'm a proponent of cocktail napkin clarity is it really forces us to wade through noise and distraction and shiny objects and bulky extra words and puffery to get to the essence of what we really want to be doing in our brands and in our businesses. It really forces clarity. And to me, I think clarity is the doorway to unlocking our brilliance. When we can clarify our brilliance, write it down on a cocktail napkin so clearly that a child could understand, when we do that, then we can amplify it off into the world in all the ways people take us in. Some people take us in by reading us. Some people take us in by watching us. Some people take us in by listening to us like we are here on the podcast. And some people take us in by interacting with us, whether it's on stage or at a networking event or just even, at a happy hour, right? All those ways, if we can send the same information out to the world in a really crystal clear way that has a picture around it, then we amplify that in a really strong way. And there comes the money after that, because then it's like they're magnetized to what you're saying because they understand it and they understand that it solves a problem that they have. And no matter where they find you, they say yes. So I see the world as clarify, amplify, monetize in that order.
that is so awesome. That is so awesome. So when you look at monetizations, there's multiple ways to look at monetizations. We can look at it through social media. We can also look at it through our brick and mortar businesses through different contracts. And can you please explain to us what monetization is for you? Is it all of the above or
Well, what I like to do when I work with folks is to help them because at the end of the day, what they really need is clarity. They need clarity about who they are and what makes them different than everybody else, which gives them a picture of their brilliance. But then they also need the words. They need the right words, right? They need the right words to reflect that picture. And when you have the right picture and you have the right words, then you have the opportunity to monetize off of it. And I mean, there's every possible way that you could do that, what I like to encourage people to consider is make it easy. Do a walk, run, soar value ladder. When you're looking to monetize your offerings, whatever they might be, consider, instead of having one offer that competes against another bigger offer, that competes against yet another different offer, have yourself a strategy where you are creating one thing where people can walk with you. Lots and lots of people who are interested in what you have to offer the world will walk with you, and that's a lower ticket item, whatever that might be. And then that lots of people, there's going to be some of those people that are going to go, I really like what this person has to offer, and I want to continue, so I want to run with them. And then you have a higher ticket monetization offer. And then a few of those people are going to be so madly in love with the work that you do that they're going to want to soar with you. And that's when they're going to spend the premium dollars. So if you have a walk, run, soar monetization schedule, monetization plan, then you really only have to figure out the walk. You really only have to figure out, what can I do to create a lead generation structure and campaign that will get people interested in what I have to offer at the walk level. And then I trust that I'm setting my business up in a way that will lead them organically to the run, which will lead them organically to the soar. We all need to get very, very adept and flexible and swift at our marketing and our sales. No matter what business you have, if you're going to be slow on the move, if you are going to be taking a long time to get your content out to the world, it's going to pass you by. And so you really want to be able to have really, really clear, essential cocktail napkin clarity about what you're doing so that you can execute those monetization strategies as sufficiently and efficiently as possible, right? And not waste a bunch of time.
That's true. That is so true. Oh my goodness.
Right? We don't want to cannibalize off of, and that's what happens a lot of times. We actually we cannibalize ourselves by working on this thing at the expense of this other thing, right? And it's like, which one are we going to do? And then we kind of spread our energy too thin, and then we don't do any of them very well. So I'm really about focusing our energies and making sure that we're getting them crystallized and directed to the initiatives that will help us succeed the most.
The way you explain it, oh my goodness, it's almost like you have a soulful version, and then there's the physical version, and we're gonna bring all these versions together, and everybody's gonna finally have a complete picture as to what direction we're going in.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's a multi-dimensional thing, people. The reason why I'm so passionate about creating smart pictures on cocktail napkins is because the brain loves pictures. We love patterns and we love pictures. If we think about teaching our kids how to read, we showed them pictures first. And in those storybooks, there was always rhyming and alliteration and patterns that happen because our human brains love it. And so when we can create what we do in the world, the brilliance that we have in the world, in a way that is a picture with pattern, with these very, very simple things, like my example would be, there's a Simon Sinek is a thought leader in leadership. He delivered a TED talk on the golden circle, which is really start with why. When you're looking at how you inspire great leaders, you start with why, and why is in the center of the circle. And then there's a concentric circle outside of that that says, how are you going to do it? And then a concentric circle outside of that that says, what do you actually sell? So it's why, how, and what. In 3 little words with 3 little circles, that man created an absolute movement of leadership and an empire that he has built on it. So when we can crystallize our visions and our offers down to that level of clarity, then you can really just build an entire movement off of it.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. I know that to be true because my very first business, I was 15 years old, and my focus was nothing but art, to draw, to airbrush to paint, whatever it took to put a picture up on someone's wall. That was my focus. And
Mm,
no drive to do anything other than that, just to put a picture on someone's wall, put a picture wherever they want that picture. But I want that picture to not only exemplify what you wanted or what you saw in your mind, but I also want to exemplify you. Basically,
mm.
this is who you are, this is who I am, this is a part of me.
Yeah. And you know, when people have that level of clarity in a picture, what happens is I call it triangulated sales. And it's in the traditional way of looking at sales, there's a dynamic that happens that's a buyer that's way high up in the hierarchy and a seller who's really hoping that the buyer says yes, right? And what happens is this dynamic occurs and sellers are resistant to the process of sales because they don't want to be rejected, because they don't want to be judged, because they don't want to be put in a situation they don't know what the answer is. They have underconfidence when it comes to having sales conversations, and as a result of that, they don't make the money they want to make. Okay, so what I like to look at when we create a visual of our brilliance, whatever that is. When you have that, what you're doing is you're triangulating the conversation, and no longer is there a big bad buyer that's over and above and dominating the submissive seller. What you're doing is you're leveling the playing field, making us be peers and potential partners. And then you and I are going to talk about my cocktail napkin, and we're going to talk about what I do and how I do it for other people. And if you don't like that, if that's not your jam, if that's not what you are aligned with, or that you feel is like a yes that will solve your problems, then that's okay. But that's how we can then change the dynamics. And when you know yourself that well that you can talk about something like that in a clear and consistent fashion all the time, your level of confidence absolutely skyrockets. And so you start to embrace sales conversations. You start to embrace talking about what you do because you know that, hey, I'm just shining my light, and my light I can draw on a cocktail napkin, and I get really juiced about this because I feel like if you have that level of comfort and welcoming and craving for sales conversations, because they're about you sharing your brilliance with someone in a really articulate way and helping them, then you will blow the doors off of your results because you won't be just limiting yourself and frankly being resistant to the very thing that's going to open the doors of success for you.
So true. That is so true. I also kind of look at it the same way I did when I was in college. So in college, we had to present these PowerPoints, and that would be your initial like point of sale where I'm going to start to give you the details as to what my product is about, the ideas that surround my product, and what my product can actually do for you. So it kind of reminds me of that type of stairway to
Yep.
get yourself to a successful point in your life where you can finally understand that sales is not your enemy. It's more so your friend.
No.
It's the
Oh my gosh, yes. It's your best friend because it's the one that's going to bring you the money.
exactly. It's the opportunity to say, hey, guess what? I have something, and I'm
Yeah.
sure that you need this.
Or
You
you just say, here's what other people do. This is what other people do. This is what I do. This is how I do it. And this is what other people do. Maybe you need it, maybe you don't. I don't know. We'll talk about that. But see how you change it's you don't even have to say, I think you need it,
well,
right?
I'm saying mentally, this is what I'm saying to them. I don't say it verbally.
Yep,
When you say things like that verbally, you look a little too cocky and you
exactly.
that that power to say no to you. So instead you have to be very articulate in how you say things, but at the same time, just like you said, be clear.
Be absolutely clear and own it. Own your power, own your confidence, own your clarity, and say, this is what I do and this is what I don't do.
Yes,
Right?
indeed.
It's really great. It's a wonderful thing when people can um, arrange their relationship to sales, and they can start looking at it as something that's really enjoyable that they want to do more of.
Yes, indeed. So I'm curious about something.
Sure.
I want to know more about, you know, enthusiasticness in the second grade.
Oh, yes, most enthusiastic in second grade. So I came home from, this was a long time ago too, where, back then when dinosaurs roamed the earth, they didn't have, it was a very rare thing to give certificates to the children, right? It was totally unheard of. And I got most enthusiastic in second grade. And I didn't even know what that word meant, but I
Right.
went home to my mom and I was like, I got this one. Other kids got like, best helper and great best speller and all that, and I got most enthusiastic. And my mom, she snapped her long painted fingernails and she tapped it on an acrylic coffee table and said, Teeter, that's the best one you could have ever gotten. Lady Jane, enthusiasm is going to take you a long way in your life. And you know what? She's absolutely right. I have created careers around pure enthusiasm. Right. And people have hired me as a speaker, professional speaker, because I'm a certified speaking professional. I love being on stages as well and helping folks get clarity from the stage. And I've had people say, I don't know what you speak on, but all I know is I want some of it.
I like that.
I have one of those, I really have deep in my heart, I have a very strong desire to make the spaces that I'm in better than when I got there.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. That is awesome. I love embracing the stage too. I mean, I'm a poet and I'm also doing relationship coaching. So I love
Nice.
stage. When I'm on stage, I feel like, oh my goodness, I have just opened myself up to this um three-dimensional world where the multiverse has brought all these people and all these ideas and thoughts together. And irregardless of what all those thoughts are, now I'm going to say to you my piece and what I'm about and what I'm about to do. And I want to change all of the narratives that you had inside your head, all of the assumptions, and let's just give you a clear cut, concise idea of who I really am.
Yeah. And more importantly, how does it help them? I mean, I went the first several years of my professional career not really understanding that part. I thought it was about me if I was up on stage and they were paying me good money to be up there, that I needed to have it be, me at my, just make it all about the most amazing stories and the most amazing accolades and all the things. And what I realized is you can really not have any of the fancy stuff. But if you can stay in your heart and you can realize that whatever you say, whatever you share, that you come from a place of service to genuinely help somebody who's in the audience, that is when the magic is so fine, is so good. When you can really connect to the fact that I'm going to offer something that's personal and that means something to me, and that is designed to make your life better if you can hear it and take it in. And it's a really magical thing.
Yes, indeed. I totally agree with you. No doubt about that. You get no negative rebuttal from me, only positive.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is awesome. I kid you not, this is awesome. So in your um when you're actually showing when you're actually making things clear to the people, because
Yeah.
that's what it's about is the clarity,
Yeah.
you um form the connection
Yeah.
between you and your audience. What are your keys to forming that connection?
What are the keys to form the connection with the audience? Well, first, it's important to know when we look at the audience, what that means. So for me as a speaker, the audience is the 10, 50, 100,000, 5,000 people that are in the room. But then there's also the audience of my clients that I'm crystallizing, right? They're a member of they're in the dance too. So those are two totally different things of what you would do to show up as an audience of a one-to-one versus a one-to-many. Those are two different things to look at. But in the main, what I would offer up is how I like to show up. How I like to show up in the best possible way is really to first be able to see them and understand them. The more that you can show up to a container of activity, whether that's a conference or if it's a mastermind that I'm hosting to clarify someone or whatever it might be, you look at that time that you're going to spend with that person and go, how can I be as prepared as possible so that they don't have to waste any time telling me anything?
Yes.
How can I do my homework in a way that will honor them, respect the people in the room, get me up to speed as much as I possibly can be, understanding what is the landscape and what their products are, their services, what the industry is doing, what their messaging is, whatever it might be. Just get smart about who's in the room, right? And then I would also say that once you get in the room, you are absolutely clear about why you're in the room and what you want to do in the room. So let me give you an example. I just got an email from an organization that I'm a part of that asked for a less than 1 minute video about what it is that I solve for today's clients, today's industry, how I weave that into my business and how that makes me exceed expectations for my clients, all within less than 60 seconds.
Mhm.
That is a tremendous exercise, and I loved it because I'm clear about what I do, I was able to do it in a matter of minutes as opposed to weeks that
Ex-
most people would have to figure out how to do something like that. Okay. So when you're going into a container of connection, of collaboration, what I recommend is, again, not only doing your homework, but also getting really, really clear about what you're doing and why you're there and what you're going to accomplish. And do the heavy lifting of the mental mechanics of it, the mental mechanics of why am I there and what will I solve? What problem will I solve? And then the third and the most important step is get out of your head and get into your heart.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I cannot tell you how many times when I'm teaching someone how to write poetry because they say they have no clue, but I tell them they actually have more of a clue than they think they have. And when I'm teaching someone how to write poetry and they're saying, well, I don't know if I should put this out there. Excuse me. First off, stop being your biggest critic because you're not the one who's going to dictate whether this is a good poem or not, or bad poem. It's the people, and those are the ones that you really need to dictate whether this is a good poem or a bad poem. Get out of your own way. Stop doing that to yourself because
Yep.
right there is going to have you constantly walking backwards, and you're going to walk backwards so many times or so far until you can't walk forward anymore. So
Mm-hmm.
it's not working.
Yeah. Yeah. And I find that the portal of the heart is the most potent place we can operate.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. And
Right.
so,
The most creativity comes, the most connections, the most synchronicities, the just the greatest revenue. I mean, everything comes from when we can really truly stay in our hearts. And that is, I think, the challenge that we're all facing in this world as it's getting more chaotic and more destructive and more divisive and more inhuman in our abilities and how we're treating each other, that we really do the heavy lifting of staying in our hearts and staying empathetic and staying aware and conscious about our behaviors and listening.
yes,
All of those things are going to become rarefied skill sets, I think.
sucks, but I totally agree with you. I really do. And it's sad because of the many people that I talk to is as just as a relationship coach, just talking to different people about their situations and the things that they're going through, they focus more on the other person rather
Right.
than focusing on who they are. And
Yep.
one of my first questions is before we get started, what's the most important relationship in your life ever? The most important relationship. Now, it's funny because out of, I would say, a minimum, just a rare number, a minimum of 50 people that I've spoken with, only 4 people have gotten it right. And they say self, the relationship with myself.
Yep. Yep.
Of course, the relationship
Yep.
with self is the most
Yep.
important relationship you'll ever have in your.
Yep.
So
Totally.
once you do the self-preservation and get you together, then you can start focusing on who other people are and what other people are doing and what they want to do and things of that nature. But right now, we can't do that.
Right. Hello.
So it is so funny, but it's true. And
Hmm.
this leads me to another question. And this is one of my questions because you gave me the open door when you said that you're a speaker. And I love asking this question. Who are you before you go to that stage?
Who am I before I go onto that stage? That's a great question. I'd say I'm probably like like a Tina Turner meets Michelle Obama with a little bit of Paula Abdul in there for good measure.
I like that. I like that. My granddaughter wants to join the podcast. That is awesome. That is so awesome. I love
Yeah.
that. And the correlation, what would you say the correlation between you and those ladies? Those because you all seem to be some powerful ladies. So what would be the correlation?
Well, Tina's just, I mean, she was a legend. She was a legend, and she had swagger. She had swagger and commanded. She chomped stages. She
Yeah.
chomped them. And so that's one thing that I always like to do. I'm a petite person. I'm 5'3" on a good day. So I like to kind of embody Tina Turner's, so I can really command the stage. Of course, Michelle Obama, I think she's just a walking grace, and she's incredibly articulate and very, very astute. She understands human nature. She understands concepts in a way and is able to articulate them in a way that I think is very compelling. And then of course Paula Abdul, she's just got a little bit of fun. She's just got a little bit of sass, little
Yes.
sass factor 10,000 on her. And straight up now tell me. I mean, I can't not imagine doing that a little bit.
I like that. I like that. So before you go on stage, do you still get jitters?
I do. I wouldn't describe them as jitters. I describe them as, moments of excitement, pangs of excitement. I try to change the narrative on it so I can get excited about it as opposed to letting them be anxious. And it all depends on the situation. Well, of course, every one I can feel and I get excited about, but as an example, the TEDx Temecula that I did a couple of months ago. This was the biggest performance of my career. 16 minutes, highly crafted, perfect, practiced over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. And so I was backstage and I could feel my heart just thump, 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 thump. And, I have hair and makeup fancy, right? And the whole bit because it's a 4 camera shoot. event. And I just had to just breathe and ground and really focus my energy and just realize that I have this, this is inside of me and I know how to do this. And I really take the moment to be intentional and deliberate and get in my body and get grounded and remember who I am before I go out and say what I'm going to say.
I love that. I love that. So I want to share this with you. That one of the reasons why I ask these questions, especially to people like myself who actually go out and we speak amongst numerous amounts of people. Um, it helps because some of the people in my audience, they ask me this question. Do you ever get nervous when you get out there on the stage? Because it just seems like it's just so natural. Yeah, it does seem that way, but
Hmm.
the reality is behind that stage, I'll have to prep myself.
Exactly. You do have to prep yourself. Yeah. In fact, I have a new program that I call How to Land and Leverage a TEDx Talk to Grow Your Business. And one of the things that I talk about in preparing it, because it's a unique kind of program that is not like any other, you craft it. I mean, if you want to do it within the confines of the time frame and you want to leverage the real estate that you have of that time frame, then you want to be able to write it out and like a script and practice it and have it be into your body like you're doing a show, right? It's like a one-person show. And I knew that my nerves were going to get so fluttery that day because it was so important to me that I would practice it with headphones on and play noise canceling white noise during the practice. I'd be outside and all I would hear is just,
Yeah, yeah.
and so I couldn't even hear my own voice
Uh-huh.
because I wanted to make sure that I had a variety of stimuli that would mimic what it was going to be like so that I wouldn't have those nerves take over. Because I've known my colleagues that have had far too many of them that have, frankly, not delivered the kinds of performances that they are worthy of and have done in the past because they let their nerves get the better of them,
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
right?
I know a bunch of my colleagues have done the same thing, and it has gotten to them to a point, maybe I say two of them, to the point to whereas they never want to get on stage again after that.
Yeah, which is a shame. It's a real shame. I really want I like to help people who want to do TEDx talks to work through the entire process. First of all, getting the cocktail napkin clarity so you have an idea worth spreading, because that's the first thing people need is an idea worth spreading that is universal. And so I help them with their cocktail napkin. I help them with crafting the presentation and delivering it with polish and flair. And I also want to help them with the energetics of it because it is important to do that mindfulness work. It is important to do the practice work and to really ensure that it gets in there so that you can show up as confidently as you possibly can.
Indeed, yes, indeed. That's one thing that I haven't done yet is a TEDx talk, and I've been hearing about them. I've been watching some of them, and I actually want to give it a shot. I want
Oh,
to.
it's a life-changing experience. It's really, really powerful. And so much fun. It's so much fun to do. I mean, yes, it's a lot of work and so worth it. So I encourage you to check it out.
Awesome, awesome. I actually did an interview with Tyler Foley. I don't know if you're familiar with him, but he was one of the actors in Freddy versus Jason
Mm.
and in the series for Carrie. And he was explaining to me about some of the TEDx talks that he had done. I was like, man, I definitely want to get into this. And I had one other guy, he was from the UK. He actually got into the TEDx talks, and I watched this talk, and I was like, wow, it is it's so intriguing to watch people actually stand there and talk on stage. And my thing is to see the whole body language too, because that body language, the way you move across that stage, it says a lot. It definitely
Hmm.
your level of confidence. It definitely shows like when you first get started, you have this kind of timid type of demeanor, but then when you see the crowd's reaction to what you're talking about, your body starts to relax and you start to get more comfortable into what you're saying. Your voice patterns change. Like I really pay attention to a lot of stuff. So
Nice, nice. Well, I hope you check mine out and see what you think. I actually use this dry erase board in my TEDx talk and show what it looks like to create some cocktail napkin clarity.
hey, I want to see. I want to see. We want to see some cocktail napkin clarity.
Nice.
I definitely want to see that, no doubt. I'm ready for it. I'm ready to see. And so, what are some of the best moments that you had, and what were some of your worst moments that you had? Where
On
you,
stage?
oh, yes.
Well, again, one of the best moments just happened recently there at TEDx. But I also had a wonderful time in my first TEDx, which was 12 years ago, and I hula hooped through the whole thing. I did a TEDx talk in TEDx Sarasota called "The Hoop Revolution: How Joyful Movement, the Power of Joyful Movement," and I did hoop hoop dancing while I was doing my TEDx speech, and that was an incredible highlight of my career, among other things. But I would say probably the worst experience. Boy, there's been a couple. You're not ever going to get away from, if you've done hundreds of speeches, you're going to find the occasional AV snafu and slides not working and things like that. But I would say that one of the most interesting ones was that I was speaking to a group of probably 350 nurses, and I was so animated walking around the stage that I fell off the back of the stage. And it was a rather large, tall stage, and you're having a collective room of nurses all go and all try to go right into action. It was pretty interesting, but all's well that ends well. I didn't get hurt, and I turned it into a bit, so it was all good.
Yes, yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Oh my goodness. So my granddaughter is a hot mess. I don't know if that's even come. She normally doesn't come where I'm doing my podcast.
Well, I'm too interesting. She says, "Hey, wait a minute, this person's different."
Exactly. Oh my goodness.
I'm like a kid whisperer. They tend to, kids and animals, they tend to find me. I am my little pooch is right here on my lap too. She's like, "Oh, it's a podcast? Okay."
Exactly. Hey, let me see what you're doing today.
Yeah.
So, is there anything as far as your content creation that you dislike about doing that?
You know, a lot of people have a resistance to content creation. They say, "Oh, I got to do more blogging, or I have to do more posting, or I have to do more videos," and they have a real resistance to content creation. And what I offer up for folks is, when you know yourself so well and you have your foundation on a cocktail napkin, when you have that crystallized essence of who you are, content creation becomes fun and easy, and you don't have to do as much of it because you're doing the same thing over and over and over again. You're just finding new expressions of that same thing. So I find that content creation actually becomes a really enjoyable thing because I already always know what I talk about. When I'm on podcasts, I fundamentally talk about clarity and crystallization and cocktail napkin clarity, right? That's just what I do. And when I am on the stages, I talk about that. And when I'm at networking events, I talk about that. And every place that I show up, I talk about the same stuff because it's what I love. And content creation becomes an easy thing then. I think it becomes difficult for people when they are confused about who they are and what they do and what makes them different than everybody else. And then they keep just adding more words and adding more words. And the reality is they don't need any more words. They need less words and
Right.
more insight about who they really are.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. I totally agree. I totally agree. Oh my goodness. You have definitely said a mouthful because oh my goodness, there's so many of my friends, like when we were doing our PowerPoints in college, they would say, like, hey, we need to say this, we need to say, no, stop.
Exactly.
Just make a footnote
Yep.
because you already know what you're talking about. Make a footnote, put that footnote on the index card, and be done with it. And
Yep.
you elaborate from there. You want to make
Yep.
people ask the questions. If you
Yeah.
give too much information, what do they need to ask you?
Right. Right. And make it, people don't read anymore. They just don't. They don't read anymore. So they scan and they scroll and that's it. And so you want to make sure that you know yourself so well that you're scrollable
Uh-huh.
because if it takes a lot of words to describe what you're doing, they have checked out.
Yes, they have. Yes, they have.
Yeah.
That's true. They checked out so fast they tell their friend, oh man, they talk too much. They don't even know what they're talking about.
Yeah. Yep.
This is they want to find somebody else.
Yep. Get to the point.
Yes. But I find it funny too. A lot of people say get to the point, but yet when you're directing your point towards them, they get offensive.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
I find that very funny because even some of the people who I did coaching with, they would ask me, well, what do you think about this part of my relationship? And they explain their relationship to me, and I just give it to them straight, tell them exactly what it is. And a lot of times they want to say, well, yeah, I was thinking the same thing about that person. No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about you. And they look
Yeah,
like,
you bring up a good point. What I find is part of the alchemy of what I do isn't just the crystallization work. The reason why it works, and really it's what my TEDx talk is about fundamentally, isn't just about the cocktail napkin. It's about how do we get the cocktail napkin, and it's about other people seeing us. I really believe that we have this divine light that is inside of us that is the reason why we're here.
"Mhm,
And the way that we've been built is that we can't see ourselves.
mhm,
I will never ever see myself fully in this lifetime ever. I will see reflections of myself in the mirror. I'll look at portions of myself as I look down at my arms and my legs, and God forbid I look down at my belly, but I will never see myself as a 360-degree living, breathing being ever. And it's the same with our brilliance. It's the same with what makes us us. We can't see it because we're too close to it.
mhm,
And so just as you're describing your role as a relationship coach, what you're doing is you are being that trusted external reflector and instigator of conversation and clarifier of positions and boundaries and priorities. You're that person that reflects that to them in a really meaningful way, and that's why it's so effective. The same holds true with my crystallization work, is that people who are incredibly bright in every other area of their lives. They do just fantastic work, and they cannot create their own cocktail napkin because they can't see themselves. So the greatest role that I serve is what I call my work is strategically sacred work, is to actually see another person through their content, right? And beyond. But it starts with their content because everybody shines in their content. You shine in your podcast about what's important to you, right? Everybody does. So when you can be that objective, respectful, present witness to someone, that's when real magic happens.
yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. So another thing you just made me think about, and this comes from your profile as well. I was thinking about when you were talking about cutting through the noise and the distractions what would be some of your techniques for cutting through noise and distractions in the everyday lives of people?
Well, again, the way to get noticed, to cut through noise and distraction whenever you have a message that you want to convey, is to consider, how do I make this a smart picture instead of words? So just as an example, to cut through the noise and the distraction for my own personal self, we're recording this now at the beginning of the year, and I create a word of the year for myself every year. Well, I want to remember it, and I want to use it, and I want to make it meaningful to me, and I want to have it be an integrated part of my life. So I actually created a model of my word of the year, and it's a triangle, and it has the word honor in it. And on that triangle, there's three lines, and those three lines equate to the things that I want to honor in my life this year and beyond. One is honoring myself in
Mm,
all ways, always.
yeah,
The next way, that second line, is honoring my boundaries. I want to know, this is what I accept, this is what I don't accept, and I'm walking away from that which is not healthy or good for me. And third is my containers of time, my containers of my space, my containers of money, my containers of my relationships. I'm going to honor myself, my boundaries, and my containers. So creating visuals about something that's important to you will cut through the distraction and the noise and really anchor it into the fabric of what you're doing in your life. So whenever you have something going on in your business, in your personal life, and you want to think, oh man, I'm not getting any traction on that, I'm not moving through that, it seems like it's getting lost in the noise, think about how can I make this a smart picture?
yes,
And
indeed.
that is a powerful tool because it has more energy, it has more weight, it has more concentrated focus than mere words.
Yes, indeed. It has substance. It
Yep,
definitely has substance, and that's
exactly. Yep.
we all need that substance. A lot of people crave what we know as subjugation, but we don't really need subjugation. What we really need is, again, just like you said, to know ourselves.
Yeah.
You are, I know what you are, I know your capabilities, and stop trying to find the 360 degrees and find the brilliance. Take that brilliance, utilize it, and make the most out of it. Not only
Yeah.
give some
Give
of
it.
the brilliance out to the world
Yes.
so they can reciprocate that, and you
Yes.
see a huge benefit that you never thought would ever come.
Exactly. It's like if I were to be able to draw the picture of it in my mind, I imagine that each and every one of us has this divine light that's inside of us, that's in our heart, and I call it a spirit print. It's like different for everybody. It's what would be on your cocktail napkin. It's different for everybody, but we all have it. And when we send it out into the world and we radiate it outwards as much as we possibly can, with the hope that we will help as many people as we can, when we shine that out strategically in a focused way with that cocktail napkin, it sends so much energy out into the world that people will actually understand and take notice of, that the energy that comes back to you will not, it will have to. It's just nature. It will have to come back to you because you've sent this goodness out into the world with such a clear way. So it's going to come back in unfathomable ways for you,
So,
right?
yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
Yeah, big time, big time. I mean, that's where the mojo happens. That's where the magic happens, is when we start to connect our great lights, our brilliance out into the world, and we touch another's heart and we help another's journey along the way. Then all that goodness comes back to us tenfold.
Indeed. Yes, indeed. So, out of all the people that you've helped in your career, in your entire career, what was one of the most memorable outcomes that you think?
Mm, mm. Well, the one I love to share is also, I mentioned briefly in my TEDx talk. It's a woman named Cheryl Lynn who is now running a global movement tackling our mental health crisis using the crystallized model that we created together. She believes that and has now proven that she is replacing the timeout chair with the chair of joy. And the chair of joy is the experience is what she and I created together. And it's four simple words. A child could understand it. And it is just sit. First, like legs on a chair, first leg is just sit. Sit where you are right now. And the second step is to just breathe. Just take a couple of nice, big, deep breaths. So you're sitting and you're breathing. And then the third word is to think. Think about something that happened in your past that brought you tremendous joy. You got it in your mind, you're thinking of it, whether it's just yesterday or 20 years ago. And then feel. Do that fourth word, feel. Feel what it felt like when you were experiencing that tremendous joy.
Mhm.
Sit, breathe, think, feel.
Yes.
Four little words that a child could understand. The fact that I have been an instrumental force in crystallizing the Chair of Joy movement that is now a global movement for not only children, but children of all ages. It's in businesses, it's in civic centers, it's in hospitals, it's in city locations, it's in corporations, it's in schools. The fact that I was a part of that, that's we're talking legacy,
Awesome.
right?
Yeah.
We're talking legacy stuff at that point. And to me, the fact that there's even one child who has learned to manage his or her mental health
Mhm.
and presence and position in a way that they can understand that through four little words that I've helped co-create, it makes my heart sing. It
Yes.
absolutely makes my heart sing.
The it's a joy just hearing you talk about it because I can hear the passion in your voice about that, and it's phenomenal when we get the opportunity to actually have people that we can talk about their successes and how we've helped them to
Yeah.
start just the foreground for that
Yep.
opportunity. Once they've started that foreground, then they
Yep.
build and build on it now. Look,
Exactly. And that's exactly what I saw Cheryl do. In fact, when she and I crystallized her chair of joy together, I drew a circle on a piece of paper. We were sitting in a collaboration booth together in Minnesota. I drew a circle and I said, Cheryl, that's you right now, you with your brilliance. And it's amazing, but it's right there and it's just you. And nobody can really, they're attracted to you, but they're not magnetized to you. They're not taking action on you. I said, now you and I'm going to link another circle, and that other circle is me. And I'm co-creating with you, and we are creating something bigger because of it. And that two circle intertwine has created this global movement that I shouldn't say I never thought possible because I actually did absolutely think it's possible. I absolutely did see it was possible. And it can be as easy as just two or more people. That's what Napoleon Hill Think and Grow Rich. This is my mother's 1960 copy, Think and Grow Rich from Napoleon Hill, $1.95, yellowed copy. And on the 10th chapter, chapter 10 is the power of the mastermind. The power of the mastermind. Two or more people coming together in the spirit of unity for a single purpose. That is what can change the world. And so I encourage your listeners to think about who can they connect to? Who can they partner with? Who can they collaborate with that will really help them build something bigger than themselves?
yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. I totally agree. I totally agree. Wow. I oh my goodness. You are one phenomenal woman. I don't know of
Oh,
that word to use other than phenomenal. You're
thank you very much. I appreciate it, Yellow. I really do. Thank you.
very welcome. And I definitely mean every word of it because it is so true. You
Thank
definitely
you.
have shown what it means to crystallize everything to put it on the napkin to express what crystallization and monetization really means. And it's a true tool that anybody in this world should actually be using, capitalizing on, and benefiting from. And I feel like you're going to take the world to the next level.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it. It was a pleasure having this conversation. I look forward to sharing it out in the world. And again, if anybody's interested, please come to theresarose.com/clear. And if you're wondering how to spell my name, it looks like theresarose.com. So it's TheresaRose.com.
Awesome, awesome. And please give us some motivational. Give us
I,
something to take us out.
I'm going to just say that every single breath is a gift, and use that moment in every single breath to really have a heart full of gratitude for another moment that you've been given, and find an opportunity in that next breath to shine your light as brightly as you possibly can.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. So where can we find you? Where can we find your information?
Yep, come to theresarose.com/clear, and you'll get complimentary access to my 10-part video course on how I do the crystallization process, and you'll just get to learn a little bit more about what I do.
Awesome, awesome. Any social media platforms you would like for?
Sure, at Theresa Rose Presents. I'm at that on LinkedIn and Instagram and Facebook, and I actually also have a TikTok channel at Theresa Rose Shines.
I can imagine your TikTok being exciting.
Some of it is, some of it is.
I love it. I love it. And I'll definitely be following you on social media. And everybody, please make sure you are following Miss Theresa Rose on.
Oh,
You to check out the guest website. The guest website is phenomenal. I would tell you from personal experience because I did actually go there and check it out. So check out Miss Theresa Rose, everybody. Theresa, you are an awesome guest, and I thank you so much for coming through YTP Entertainment. Many blessings to you, much success, and continue being a phenomenal woman.
yeah.
With
Blessings in return. Blessings in return. Thank you so much.
Thank you
Have
so
a
much.
wonderful day.
Blessings.
Okay, take care.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
So have a great day.
You too.